Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. This is United Daily Live and some breaking news for people as well. Paul Pogba has tested positive for the coronavirus. Yeah, he has had his COVID-19 test when meeting up with the France international squad, and he has had to withdraw from the squad because he has come back with a positive test. Obviously, these are early reports that are breaking in out of France. He has already been replaced in the squad by Eduardo Camavinga, so this has probably been two tests done just to make sure that it wasn't a false positive from Paul Pogba, but he has been withdrawn from the France squad. And just one normal day in this summer as a Manchester United fan would be great, wouldn't it? We have seen Paul Pogba now get coronavirus. We've seen Victor Lindelof fighting with robbers on the street. We've seen Harry Maguire fighting with British tourists and the police and being in court and everything. We've had absolute loads of madness going on. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's out in Dubai, and apparently United didn't want him to be in Dubai, which means he's now got a quarantine for 14 days. And this one is a big blow to United because look, you probably can't blame Pogba for getting coronavirus. It's what's going on at the minute. Although I'm sure people will be whipping out that video of him and that kid crying the other week in a restaurant. But look, he's got coronavirus. We just have to wait and see when he recovers. But the problem for United is it's probably going to be at least a week, 2 weeks before he clears from that, if he does. And then what does that mean in terms of his pre-season? Is he going to be able to do any pre-season? What is he showing any symptoms? Does he have, or is it just a symptomless positive test? Like we don't know the full details yet, but what we do know from GFFN is that Paul Pogba has tested positive for the coronavirus and has withdrawn from that France squad. So huge news coming out of France in relation to Paul Pogba. And of course, Anthony Martial is somebody that is in that France squad, which is obviously great news for him as well. He'd been dropped from the France squad. He'd been in and out of it. He'd been in with a chance of being in the France squad for the World Cup. He got to January where he'd had 10 goals, 10 assists, and he was absolutely smashing it. And then obviously we saw Alexis Sanchez coming at United, and his spot in that World Cup team was kind of thrown away because of that. But he has been able to fight his way back up in the Manchester United team in recent months and in the last season. He's looking a lot better. Now it'd be interesting to see where he plays, whether it is in the number 9 role or in one of the wider positions in the front three. But Anthony Martial being picked for this new for the France squad is obviously great news for him. Now, Hader officials saying it's fake. He's not tested positive. Well, GFFN are pretty reliable. They're not just gonna tweet something like this in relation to Paul Pogba tested positive. We've also known that as well. So let's have a look. That another player did. Who was it? Tanguy Dembele also tested positive, and he won't be in the France squad either. Eduardo Camavinga came in for Paul Pogba. They're not going to replace him in the France squad if this isn't true. Like, why else wouldn't he be in the team? The breaking news from France is Paul Pogba has tested positive for COVID-19 and was replaced in the France squad by Eduardo Camavinga. Obviously now we just got to hope that he gets well soon and he's available for Manchester United as soon as possible. Let us know what you lot are thinking in those comments below. Paul says going well this summer transfer window. We've got a player arrested, a COVID player, potential quarantine player, and no business at all. We're all living in a Glazer wonderland. He won't be able to play in the Prem. That's obviously a concern for United. The Premier League starts on September the 19th. United's Premier League season starts, and if he's unable to join in with pre-season training, which starts on the 2nd of September, so let's say he's not able to be involved in that until the 10th of September, the 11th of September, then we're going to be without Paul Pogba for the start of the season, which again isn't ideal for Manchester United. James Christou says Wan-Bissaka in trouble, Brandon injured, Maguire being a banana, Pogba gets Rona, and we still don't have any transfers. I can't do it for much longer with the super chat. Thank you very much for getting your super chat in, mate. But yes, that news coming in that Paul Pogba has tested positive for the coronavirus, and he's been speaking, Didier Deschamps, about Eduardo Camavinga, who has come in, and he said, I know his manager well, it is coming early maybe, there are 2 players missing that played into it. When he's on the pitch you feel it. Renner a different player, when he is on the pitch. Obviously, Eduardo Camavinga is someone that's been linked with a move to Real Madrid and Manchester United in the past as well, and he's coming into that team to replace Paul Pogba, who has tested positive. So now we'll wait to see what the club say. I'm sure the club will want to make a statement in relation to Paul Pogba, and obviously this positive test. They want to get him back into the England, I'm sure, get him quarantined at home, so that they can run their testings and hopefully get him cleared up as soon as possible. But we've just got to wait and see now. It's one of those things, isn't it? We've got to go by government guidelines. We've got to go by all these different things. If he has travelled out to France, can he travel back? Like, there's loads of different questions that we have to consider here, and I'm sure we'll get some clearance on that from Manchester United at some point soon. But it has been confirmed that he's not in the France squad. For those that are saying that it's not true, it's looking very, very likely that it is true. Can this get any worse, says Alien Tenno? He's a damn fit lad, so he should be fine and ready to go in the next 7 to 10 days, all being well, says Paul B. I hope he will be okay, says David. Does that mean Raiola's got it? Says Ross Murphy. Who knows where he's got it from? I blame that crying kid, that is for sure. But yeah, Paul Pogba has got coronavirus now. Where does that leave Manchester United in terms of the start of the season? Are we going to be without our most talented player, Paul Pogba? It'd be a disappointment if we were. Obviously, it means he misses out on these France games, which is probably good for us in terms of his fatigue and him getting a full rest. But this isn't the ideal scenario for Paul Pogba to be getting a rest, is it? It's not the ideal scenario at all. I don't think he's been with any of the other United players. We haven't seen any pictures or anything like that of him with the other United players. That news in relation to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, there's been a little bit more reported on that today. And it is that Wan-Bissaka was given extra time to recuperate by Manchester United, hence his trip to Dubai. So the Guardian are reporting that Wan-Bissaka was given extra time off, hence why he did go out to Dubai, where he would need to go into quarantine. Now, obviously, that came after reports yesterday where it was saying that actually he wasn't allowed to go out there. He wasn't supposed to travel out there, and United were furious with him for doing that because it'd mean he'd missed the start of pre-season. But it seems, according to these reports anyway, that it looks like he's been given that time off, or it could just be a PR exercise by Manchester United to just limit the damage a little bit in terms of Aaron Wan-Bissaka and just United not having another negative story out there. United report are sharing at the moment via John Solano, who's a Roma journalist, that the move for Chris Smalling to AS Roma is close now. So hopefully we can see some movement on that. We managed to get rid of Alexis Sanchez, which was obviously a big part of our wage bill. United have managed to clear that off. Getting Chris Smalling off that wage bill and also getting a fee in for him could do well as well. Sergio Romero's linked with the move. We've obviously heard about Dean Henderson staying at Manchester United now. So if you're getting rid of Sergio Romero, Chris Smalling, you've got rid of Alexis Sanchez. There's a few others that could leave. Jones, Rojo's been talking about leaving. Delo's been linked with a move, although I would keep him personally, but nevertheless he's been linked with a move. Andreas Pereira, apparently he wants to leave Manchester United. So you're looking at around 6 or 7 players there that could be sold to recruit some funds for Manchester United as we go further into the transfer market. Still no business been done yet, which is obviously massively disappointing. But we wait and see what happens. So we hear this news today that Paul Pogba has tested positive for coronavirus. What a summer it has been for Manchester United so far. I'm sure United could just do us all a favour, announce Jadon Sancho, and everyone will forget about all this madness that we've had over the last couple of weeks and months. But yeah, Paul Pogba not in the France squad, and reports from France is that is because he has tested positive for COVID-19 and was replaced in the squad by Eduardo Camavinga. So that's the latest in relation to Paul Pogba's withdrawal from the France squad. Let us know what you lot are thinking about that. There's also talk about Chris Smalling now being close to a move to AS Roma after it seemed like that one had gone away. It looks like it could be back on the card. So let us know your thoughts on that one as well. The young prospect Marc Jurado says, Aswin, tell us more. Obviously, I haven't seen an awful lot of him. I don't spend my time watching Barcelona B. But there's obviously been a lot of good things said about him in terms of his future. He's obviously a Manchester United player now. We know that. And we know that he's in England now. I think he's got to quarantine for a little bit before he's able to join up with the boys and train. But he's in England now. Great to see United making those kind of signings. We've heard about Joel Hugill from Sunderland. We've heard about a few other players as well potentially coming in. And he fits the bill. Bringing a player into your academy, highly rated, young talent. It's nicking him off one of your European rivals. Let's hope he can do well. But there's no point putting any pressure on him just yet. You know, at the earliest, it'll be 2-3 years before we see him in the first team, in and around the first team, unless he's just exceptionally good. Alien Tenor with the super chat says, Monty Ed Woodward's flying United circus. Adam, which new players do you realistically think we will have on the 19th of September? Says Shaz. I think we'll have Sancho, and I think we'll have one more, like a centre half or something. I'd love us to be able to get Jack Grealish and a few other players, but just don't see it happening, unfortunately. I think we'll get 2, maybe 3 if we're lucky. Bill, feel free to go over there if you want. Nothing's stopping you. Kirk, Arsenal and Chelsea strengthening their squads. They are. Fred and Scott behind Bruno if no one else comes in, says Durban Charo. Obviously, you still got Matic as well. But Fred and Scott will be expected to play more if Paul Pogba can't start the season. Did United know it so that they are going after Grealish? I doubt United are going after. I just can't see United actually doing anything in that regard. At this rate, Ollie will be back with half a squad and a fair few grey hairs. I know it's not great preparation, is it? And the BBC are now reporting as well that Paul Pogba has tested positive for the coronavirus. So it's not just French reports. France manager Didier Deschamps has confirmed that as well. So that news is out there and confirmed by France, by Didier Deschamps and everybody else. Let's hope he's given the time to recover now. We've seen the media's reaction to Harry Maguire and how different that would have been if it was Paul Pogba. Now let's see how they act towards Paul Pogba over getting tested positive for coronavirus. They'll probably blame him for the virus and everything, but that's how it goes, I guess. We need to just allow him the time to get back and get ready for Manchester United. How do I rate this Badiashile kid? Says DP Bag. From what I've seen, it looks like he's got great attributes, but again, I haven't watched an awful lot of him. I don't spend my time watching Monaco. I used to watch him when Falcao and that were there, but I haven't watched him as much anymore. With Henderson signing long term, Romero is going. It does look like that, don't it, Ross? It does look like Sergio Romero could be one of those that does head away from Manchester United, and he'd bring in a decent fee, so I can't argue with that. And when you look at the kind of money that we are spending on these goalkeepers, nearly 400 grand a week on. When you take, I think it's Henderson's and De Gea's wage, that's like 500 grand a week. And then you look at Romero's probably going to be on around 100 grand as well. I think Lee Grant's on 30. We're spending around 630 grand a week on goalkeepers. I think Sergio Romero will be the one that disappears from those goalkeepers and is sold. You bring in a fee, 15-20 mil, and you get his wages off the wage bill, which is pretty much the equivalent of Dean Henderson's wages. So it makes sense. I'm afraid where we will finish next season, I'm not too worried just yet. Obviously there's a lot of time, but it's not great signs from Manchester United, is it, that we're going to get the amount of business we want done. I'm still confident we'll get Jadon Sancho, but the more time goes on and the less amount of deals we have done, you think, have we got time to get 3 deals done, 4 deals done? Probably not, and that's the worrying part of it. Since the World Cup 3 or 4 times, Martial was due to be part of our squad for various different reasons. It didn't happen. With what he has been doing now since last season, he's back in the squad, says Deschamps. About Anthony Martial, obviously would have had a World Cup winners medal if it wasn't for fucking Jose Mourinho, but that's the way it went, I suppose. Hopefully he can use that to enable him to push on and do even better, and hopefully he can have a good time out for France. Big opportunity for him. I think he's a massively talented player, as you all know, and the more he's playing for Manchester United, the more he'll be playing for France, and I'm sure he'll be a success for them as well. But there we go. Anyway, remember, this was just a spontaneous video, this United Daily Live. There is a regular United Daily Live at 10:30 p.m. every single night, so make sure you're joining us for that. That's UK time, and you're getting involved in it. But the news today, breaking out right now, is that Paul Pogba has tested positive for the coronavirus and will be withdrawing from the France squad for the next 2 internationals. He's been replaced in the squad by Eduardo Camavinga. Anthony Martial is in that squad, and he is back in the France squad, but obviously Paul Pogba will not be, and fingers crossed he can make a speedy recovery. But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and comment and sharing, subscribing, keeping it locked. I've been AdamMcKola. You lot been legends. I'm out of here.